What's going on, guys? Paul Hernandez here. I really wanted to just make a video reflecting on what's happened this past week, especially given the loss of, such an iconic legend in person, Kobe Bryant. And, a lot of us have been super traumatized and hurt because we looked up to him. And, we grew up playing video games, watching his career and just looking up to him. He was so influential. That really touched us emotionally. I wanted to draw something from his life and even in general, because people are coming and going, and it's just shocking to even see people that are dying so young. I wanted to draw something positive out of this loss and see it as, in some ways, as a gain, to learn something from it. And I'm sure he would want us to look at it in light of what we can learn. So I hope that these 3 points can really help you. All right. So there's 3 points that I wanted to draw just from everything that has happened and how we can look at it in light of the reality of life. So the first point is to be sober. We don't know what tomorrow holds. We hear the saying that says, tomorrow isn't promised. The reality is it isn't. The next 12 hours aren't promised. Your next step, your next breath isn't promised. And so our life could be taken from us. And this is not to instill any sort of fear, but this is just the reality of the things that could happen. People have accidents every day. People pass away in their sleep. And a lot of times the pride of life can choke us from really remembering that life is a gift. It's a precious gift that was given to us. In another way, we're actually borrowing this life from the one that gave life to us in the first place. And so what I want to say is to be sober about your life, be sober about your decisions, be sober about the choices that you make. There's nothing wrong with making plans. The reality is you need to consider that your plans may not always be fulfilled. They may not always happen. Things change. Things go left when you want them to go right. I love what the Bible says about this, and it says that in every choice that we make, in every decision that we go towards, in the plans that we make that might be 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, let's always commit them to God and say, if God wills, if the Lord wills. In another way, it's saying that we entrust our life to God's control, to God's sovereignty, that He is ultimately the one that will establish the plans that we make. We're just men, you know what I mean? We're humans, we're created by Him. In other words, it's prideful to just say that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, because the reality is you don't know when your life could be taken from you. You don't know when your last breath could be taken from you. And so essentially what I want to capture is to be sober-minded, is to be humbled about your life, and to be reminded that it was something that was given to you, not something that you gained. You were given your life. When you were born, you didn't ask to be born, you were given your life. And to be sober-minded is to be reminded of the one that gave it to you in the first place. So keep that in mind. Every single day is a gift. That leads me to my next one, which is number 2, is to be grateful. As soon as this tragedy happened, it compelled a lot of us to just want to really cling to the people that we love. And when we woke up the next morning, we're like, man, I'm so grateful that I still have my family. I'm so grateful that I have friends. I'm so grateful that I have a husband or I have a wife to go to. I'm so grateful that I have these people around me. Some people don't have that. Some people lose those and they didn't ask for that. And it's challenging to cope with that. So through this tragedy, I think that we can really learn to be grateful for what we have, to really hold on to the people that we love. We need to hold on to the people that love us and be reminded that there's people that love us in our life that we might not have a great relationship with, that we need to maybe reconcile. And that might be through forgiveness of a grudge or something that we might have hostile towards them. I encourage you guys to really reconcile those relationships that you might have. It might be somebody in the hospital that you need to visit. It might be a grandfather, somebody elderly in your family that you haven't spoken to a long time, or a father, a mother who you have a challenging relationship with, where there might be some tension. But I encourage you guys to make efforts and steps to restore those relationships, because again, tomorrow's not promised. So we really need to be grateful for what we do have. And I think we have a lot to learn, especially what's happened in this time, is to cherish those people. So that's number 2, is to be grateful. Point number 3 is to be selfless. What I was definitely reminded is to be selfless. As soon as I heard that this happened with Kobe's family, I was blown away by the fact that I could not imagine being in his wife's position, losing her husband, and then shortly after finding out, obviously she knew already, but when I heard the news that his daughter was also in the helicopter as well, I was just so devastated. I could not imagine what would it feel like to be in that position, to lose that security of your husband, but also that closeness of your daughter, and bearing her in your womb, and then raising her as a daughter, and then losing that, someone so young. I could not imagine that. And so being in that position really allowed me to at least try to put myself in a position that challenged me just to empathize and to share in that suffering. In the Bible, it also says to weep with those who weep, grieve with those who are grieving, with those who are going through a tough time like loss, share in their suffering with them, empathize with them, be there for them, put yourself in their shoes and mourn with them. This third point of being selfless encourages us to get out of our own emotions, put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and think about what they're feeling, what they're going through right now, something traumatic that they're experiencing. How can you put yourself in their situation and embrace that with them? It calls us to go beyond ourselves, to go beyond what we're comfortable feeling. But think about the reality that there could be somebody that is facing something similar in a loss or some sort of brokenness inside. All of us are dealing with something, but it could be something very critical in that moment that they're feeling that you might have the opportunity to make a difference in. For sure, for a lot of us, this situation encouraged us to pray for the Bryant family and to be present and to be thinking about them. And this got us out of our comfort zones. To be selfless and to really think about people other than yourself is something that we can definitely draw from this. So just to recap, to be sober-minded, to be mindful that this life is a life that's been given to you and tomorrow isn't promised. Number 2 is to be grateful. Really cherish the things that have been given to you in your life. Be thankful for the people that love you and the people that you love, and cherish them and hold them close. Number 3 is to be selfless. Think about other people. Let your thoughts be focused on other people and what they might be dealing with so that you can help them. Let your prayers be with them. Let your mind empathize with what they're dealing with. So I hope that these 3 things could encourage you with what has happened, despite how challenging it is to go through it for all of us. At least there's something great that we can draw, and this can be used for every single thing that we do in our life. So guys, be blessed. Peace.